the hood champion. Boxing is sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Amir Khan's always been the guy to find a way to win. If you didn't know, now you know. Amir Khan's net worth is between 40 and 50 million, could be more. Because you know sometimes when you're looking at these online sources, they're inaccurate. But I'm gonna go ahead and say that's probably a safe guesstimation based on the research I've done. But why is that important? Well, because Amir Khan recently lost to Kell Brook. Watching that fight, it just tells me Amir Khan needs to hang it up. But the thing with Amir Khan is Amir Khan, he mentioned in an interview how if he was to hang up the gloves right now, he would miss those paydays. So this scares me for Amir Khan. Because when guys hang on too long and are still fighting for money, that's where they get in trouble. And the thing about Amir Khan is he doesn't need money. He doesn't need money. He's very wealthy. In addition to that, Amir Khan right now seems to have all of his faculties intact. And that's probably more important than, I don't know what more he's trying to do, because the type of generational wealth he's created, I mean, you had to take a real irresponsible child, grandchild, great-grandchild, great-great-grandchild to mess up all of that, you know? But what he's doing is he's putting himself at risk of being in a situation like a Freddie Roach, a Muhammad Ali, and even like a Roger Mayweather. And what I mean is just taking a lot of unnecessary shots. You know what I'm saying? And then the long-term ill effects of that, they're just disastrous. So with Amir Khan, it's just a little disappointing that he just won't hang it up because he's talking about money. But he's a smart guy. So what he's doing right now, the fact that he's activated the rematch clause with Kell Brook. Now, I don't know how many people want to see that. Amir Khan is a shell of himself. He's not the same. And he's punch drunk, man. He's not durable. And his chin just can't sustain, man, any heavy shots. Those are signs that it's time to hang it up. But he's such a smart guy, such a savvy businessman, he activated his rematch clause, hoping that Kell Brook will want to take a fight with a Conor Ben, a Eubank Jr., maybe an Adrien Broner, and maybe somebody else, another big name out there. And in doing so, he would have to pay Khan step-aside money. That means Khan gets paid a few $1 million for not doing anything. Now, smart move on Khan, but Eddie Hearn, he's what's that saying, man? He's far from slow. Eddie Hearn already said Khan can F off. He knows what he's doing. No one believes Khan really wants that rematch. Now, if he goes through with it, you know, we'll have to applaud Khan for his bravery. But I honestly feel Khan doesn't want to get back in there. And it's going to be a situation like with Adrien Broner. When you get, when your confidence is taken, it's hard to get that back. And Amir Khan can't possibly go into another fight with Kell Brook with any sort of confidence. There was no excuses. He was healthy. He was in the, like he said, the greatest shape. He trained with Terence Crawford, and it just didn't go his way. Amir Khan really needs to stop. He just needs to stop boxing. But the thing about it is, there was a time where nobody wanted to fight Amir Khan. Nobody, because that hand speed that Amir Khan had, and he had some pop, is a problem. A problem. A lot of these guys didn't want to fight him. And those who did, man, you know, it didn't go well for them. Unless you can somehow, you know, get that lucky punch in. But after, what's his name, Breeders Prescott, not many people were able to really, you know, damage him like that till he really got in there with Danny Garcia. Maidana hurt him, but Amir Khan hurt him early, but Maidana wasn't able to finish him. But Danny Garcia is the one that I think put that nail in the coffin. Like, if you hit him clean, he's going to go down. And ever since then, everybody started kind of watching him and just kind of saying he was chinny. And after he fought Canelo, they were like, he just has no chin. But Canelo's a hard hitter. But the point he's at now is, yes, he's a bit chinny, But guys still didn't want to fight him at the time because of how his speed and his legs and his movement. But now Khan has slowed down. So he can't move as fluent as before. His speed has somewhat diminished. That makes him somewhat of a standing target. Now I'm not gonna totally say that he moves like his feet are stuck in cement, because that's not the case. He still moves a lot faster than most of these boxers. But he's slowed down enough to where some of these up and coming fighters, if they fight him, they can knock him out, or they can definitely hurt him and win the fight. So you got like Ryan Garcia's calling him out. You got, of course, the Eubank Juniors. You got the Conor Benns. I think Regis Prograis mentioned something. I think Mikey Garcia mentioned something about fighting Khan. So you have, and then you have the Vinder Singh guy, man, who's still calling for that fight. So you have all these guys who are calling to fight Amir Khan. There's a lot of fighters out of England calling for him as well, in addition to the Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. But they're calling for that fight because it's a huge stepping stone for them. If they can go out there and knock Khan out, that's a name on their resume. Now, it's not the same as knocking Khan out 4 or 5 years ago, but he's still a big name, and it is what it is. It's like if Pacquiao was to come back and, let's say, Terence Crawford fought him. Although Pacquiao lost to Ugas and he looked like his better days were behind him, if he was to come back and fight a guy like Terence Crawford and Terence Crawford knock him out, people would still say how great Terence Crawford was and he defeated Manny Pacquiao, because it's a name. But Manny Pacquiao was under Manny Pacquiao 5-10 years ago. And that's just a fact. Okay? Still, great fighter. But these guys with names, now that they're starting to slow down, you see these guys trying to go at him. And to me, that's unfair. You know, it's like Adrien Broner is another guy. To me, Adrien Broner and Khan would be a good fight right now, because they're both kind of up in the air, on the way out. And that's why I think Broner, who's been, kind of clamoring for a $10 million payday, if he fights Amir Khan in the UK, I think he can get a $10 million payday. But I think Broner will lose that fight. I honestly do. He just hasn't been active enough. But guys are also calling out Broner too because of the same thing. They see that he's somewhat what they feel is a cherry pick, is a big name, but with very little risk. And that's just not fair. That's just not cool, in my opinion. You're an up and coming fighter, get in there with a guy who's active, a guy who is going to present a real challenge, and a guy who you're going to get credit for. Right now, no one's getting credit for beating Amir Khan or beating Adrien Broner. Get in there and fight Stanionis. Get in there and fight Gerard Ennis. Even Keith Thurman. He's active enough and busy enough to where you fight him and you beat him, you're going to get some respect. But leave these other guys alone. So when it comes to Amir Khan, he's just looking for a few last big paydays, so he can just go off into the sunset and relax with his wife and the beautiful kids, and keep it with his business ventures he has, throughout Asia and Europe. And he has every right to do that. But I honestly think if Amir Khan is still, because see, people don't want to let it go. That's like running into that chick who's like 40-something years old, gained weight, looking miserable, but she still want to wear tights, talking about, I used to be prom queen. Like, you're not prom queen. Like it's over. You know what I'm saying? Being on the basketball court playing, that guy out there still trying to, man, do crossovers, anchor step, fadeaways, all that. And the Joker can't even hit the goddamn rim, you know what I mean? I used to do X, Y, and Z. Well, we get it, Magic, you know what I'm saying? But your time is over. You're not that guy. And that happens in sport. It happens in boxing too. The time is over, man. He needs to leave that alone, because he's not the Amir Khan that fought Maidana. He's not that Amir Khan that fought Judah. Even the one who fought Garcia. That Amir Khan was a savage. The one who fought Peterson. That Amir Khan was a savage, man. It's not there anymore. So I think Amir Khan needs to just go on, relax. Very fortunate to retire as a young man with, real money, man. I think that's what needs to happen. That's my 2 cents. But these young guys who are coming up, leave what's his name? Leave Ryan Garcia alone. Ryan Garcia is a problem. Leave these tall 140-pounders alone as well, who can easily get to 147. Like, don't mess with them, and definitely don't go up to 154. Talking about Charlo and talking about what's his name, Rosario, and just leave the 154 pounders alone, man. Amir Khan needs to just stop, man. I don't want him to get hurt. But for these young fighters coming up, man, don't try to cherry pick him. You know, go after a killer if you want to get some real respect. This man here has paid his dues. He's fought everybody. He's never been afraid of anyone, and he's always given excitement. I think he's earned that right. So, you know, more to come on Amir Khan and what he's going to be doing in the future. But I know right now he's still talking about continuing fighting. We know the activating the rematch clause is yet to be seen if that's really what he wants or just a way to get paid step-aside money. But the fact that he's still talking about hanging around, these young guns are targeting him now. Everybody wants a piece of Amir Khan because it's going to be a decent payday for him. And two, that's a huge name with, there's some risk involvement. I would say less risk than before. Okay, so that's my 2 cents, man. You guys take care. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow this page. Could use all the help and all the help that you guys are willing to give. Plan on doing about 40 videos a week. Just keep getting busy, man, and just try to figure out that algorithm to get this popping. Y'all take care. Shout out to all the veterans. Y'all keep safe, and as always, I'm in the breeze.